Hey, Claude.
Hey Jess, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Treat Yourself Week.
Oh, I love that.
Any plans to treat yourself?
So, the way I treat myself is, of course, eating a bit of chocolate, more than usual, but also a nice bubble bath.
Is that going to be before or after you podcast?
Maybe during.
Oh boy, yes, that's right. In this upcoming episode, if I recall, you were in many locations. It's probably a great question we can ask our audience to see how many locations in total you have been
Yeah,
throughout this episode.
it's not Where's Waldo, but Where's Claude? Yeah, so
Did we
for
tell the
everybody.
audience, yeah, where you started from?
So I actually started in my bathtub. But don't be afraid, I was in my clothes, in my bathtub, because I was trying to find a quiet place because my family was at home. The bathtub did not work because there was a lot of echo, no Wi-Fi. So I had to move to another location. But
To
yeah,
many, many other
many
locations.
locations. I think it was a bit distracting, for
Oh, I
our
believe
guests.
they were having just as much fun with that as they were recanting all of their beauty routines and answers to our questions. So it definitely made it more entertaining for sure.
Good. I was happy to oblige. How
All
are you
right.
going to treat yourself, though?
That is a great question. I think I'll probably splurge on another beauty product or another outfit. Shocking, right?
Do you need more body products,
I
beauty
mean,
products?
yes. When do you not need beauty products?
You're a natural beauty. You don't need
Ah, so kind, so kind.
that.
Well, as we hope everybody else has a lovely treat yourself week, let's kick off this episode.
Work
Besties! All right. Hi, everybody. So today's a special treat. In fact, it's March 29th, and it is Treat Yourself Day. And I could think of no better group of people to have for this amazing day. It is my favorite crew, the crew that I love to call my beauty positive crew, my beauty junkies, my friends of all over. They are my work BFFs from another time, but forever really will always be known as my beauty junkies. So we have a number of fun individuals on the call this time around. So we're going to switch things up from what we normally do. Normally, Claude and I do all of the kind of co-hosting, asking the questions. But since there are four of us in this beauty quad of BFFs, we are going to have Claude lead and I am going to be a part of the guests. But before we do that, since everybody already knows me, why don't the three of you introduce yourselves? Maybe just a little bit about how you got into the love of beauty. Anyone want to go first?
I can go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla, and I started working with these lovely ladies back in 2019 when I moved over from working in home goods, really focusing on kitchen accessories. And I moved over to Prestige Beauty, which I absolutely love. I live in Boston with my husband and my Bernedoodle Millie.
Hi, I'm Jackie. My love of beauty started maybe when I was like 3 years old. And for my birthday, I remember, I don't even know who bought this for me. They bought me this like really cheap, like it literally is probably bought at Kmart, which doesn't even exist anymore, like drugstore nail polish makeup kit. And like ever since, I've just been so obsessed with everything makeup, skincare, fragrance, and hair. And like Kayla said, we started working together in 2019, but actually before I joined the beauty team, I was on I was working in a different industry, and I always felt like it wasn't best suited for me because it just wasn't, I was never passionate about the industry I was covering. And so ever since I shifted into beauty, it's just been a total 180, and I've been loving the ride. But outside of work and my core job, I am a mother to an almost 19-month-old, and I live with my husband and daughter in New York City. So,
Wait, I didn't really tell why I fell in love with beauty like you did, Jade.
Oh, Kayla, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Your
ahead.
story was so good. My story is similar. I'll never forget. My mom took me to New York City to see my cousin perform in the New York City Ballet. And she made the huge mistake of taking me into Henry Bendel's to the makeup counter.
Oh, your experience is
really
nice.
fancy.
Well, yeah. But what do you do?
Kmart or Henry Bendel's? Yeah,
My
I don't know.
product was a Trish, well, because my mom was getting her makeup and she felt bad. She was like, okay, you can get something. So my first product was Trish McAvoy.
Oh my gosh.
And like, where do I go from there? So she really screwed me up. And I blame my spending on my mom, but it also.
I know, now I'm embarrassed.
Okay, best for last. All right, so my name's Nazat, and I think if you look up the word beauty junkie in the dictionary, you'll see my picture next to it. I don't think there's anyone who like owns or spends as much of their paycheck on beauty as I do. It's actually kind of a problem now. But I feel like, yeah, my first beauty experience was not as high end as Kayla's, but the earliest was probably like middle school. Like I used to use my mom's, like my mom only bought like drugstore stuff. So I used to use like her lipstick was the first thing I ever used, was like her. And it was always like some crazy shade, like a really dark red, or like dark colors, like really, really dark colors. And I was like 10. So I was like going to school and my mom would be like, you're not allowed to wear that to school. But I would like wear it anyway. And then eyeliner and lipstick, and I never wore anything else. Like it just,
wow.
I probably looked crazy. But yeah, I was probably
You
like,
loved it. That's all that matters.
I loved it, yeah. But I didn't go to like Sephora until I was like in college. Like I didn't get to experience prestige beauty, but once I did. But what else are we supposed to say? How do we know each other? Oh yeah, I met all these lovely ladies in 2019 as well. Because I had just moved over from Macy's where I was doing e-commerce beauty, and then I moved to another company, and I'm actually not working in beauty right now. I'm working in apparel, but in a role that I really love.
So we just learned that you started working together in 2019. So really, what was that moment or situation that really brought you from coworkers to work besties?
They'll learn.
Who wants to go?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Are we playing the
No,
fifth like we had to do with Jess?
No.
I mean, I think it was a combination of multiple things. I mean, some of it was us. We had to commute to different locations, right?
Mhm.
Some of it
I mean,
was,
honestly, yeah, and new in the team, finding our way through like our new jobs, and also I think like yeah, like even like during COVID too, like that was a really lonely time, and I feel like those happy hours that we did too were like so nice to just like see each other. I don't know.
That is actually an excellent point, right? Because 2019, just before COVID. So, how did you keep that relation going during COVID?
a lot of texting.
I'm like, yes, so much. The text thread was lit.
Remember when we went to the Glossier pop-up?
Oh, yeah, we did.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Insert picture here.
But was that a certain moment, right? Because that is, you went out, but that moment where you knew, you know, you were going to be friends. Like, did it happen at work or?
Kind of sounds like it's
Yeah.
multiple moments at this point.
Yeah, and I also just feel like there were so many little instances at the office and like during work that kind of just added up to like this was like a safe space where we could all like share how we were feeling at work, share what was going on like personally in our lives, share what favorite makeup product we liked. I don't know, just like a bunch of little things. I feel like there wasn't just one
I don't know if it was
instance.
like some of our lunches or even just some of our text chains, but like I feel like there was multiple times where somebody had something going on, whether it was work related, personal related, combination, and everybody would just like vent, but there was no ill will, like no comment of
Yeah.
judgment. It was always like, hey, did you think of X, Y, and Z? Or you could tell if someone just wanted to vent. We were like, preach, girl, just vent.
Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
all like help each other. I feel like we started doing that on our commutes,
Mm-hmm.
on the train together. And like I remember us all opening up on those trains. And JJ, I feel like you wouldn't come into the office all the time, but we all had to be. So then on the train, it's like when we got to really connect with
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
that's great. And obviously you see that you're all so friend and you kept being friend. What do you value the most in your relationship? And it can be so different, right? Because you value at something different at that time than now. So how do you value the most in your relationship?
I'll go. I mean, obviously, you guys were closer than me, but I felt like you guys always included me. And obviously, we're all different ages generationally. But there was never any judgment. Like, you guys were always just, everybody listened to each other. Um, there was always positivity. There was no negative. We just kind of were like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? And I just felt like that was different and unique.
Yeah, it was like it was always like a no judgment zone. And I think, I mean, obviously Jess and Kayla worked closer together, but like I feel like we kind of worked on separate teams when we were at the same company. And then as our careers kind of evolved and now some people are at different places, it still is like a safe space to come back to like ask advice on things and just like where you guys are at with, I don't know, becoming a new manager. I know Nazat like talked about that. And I think it's a really positive and healthy thing to have like an all woman core group that's like a safe, non judgmental space. And I think that's what like work besties and relationships are about. Like, I think empowering women, and I know we shouldn't just include women, but like that's what it feels like here. It's like empowering each other, supporting each other, lifting each other up when you're not feeling 100%, or just being a listening ear, I feel like is where we're at now.
I know, I was going to say the same, like the first word that came to my, or I guess it's two words that came to my mind, where we really create this like safe space for each other to like talk, vent, get advice, and like also have
That's
fun.
true. We usually end it with somebody making us laugh or a story that would
Yeah.
take you off the like seriousness of it.
Or like a package getting delivered from Sephora.
An
Yeah, or
unboxing.
Nazat being like, "Did you guys look at this product
Yeah,
yet?"
I'll
I'm
be like,
like,
have you
"I
heard of
haven't
this
even
brand?
heard of
And
this."
like, come on.
She's like, I already did a review on it.
Nazat,
Have you not watched it?
Literally, and Nazat's gonna be the next
Oh my
trend mood
God.
one.
Yes.
Like there's brands that I've
Trend
heard of and I
mood
feel like
You're
people
so
Nazat.
good at that.
people don't talk about it. I'm like, come on, gotta get with it.
Maybe we can like save you some coins so you're not spending all your paycheck, and companies can just like send it to
Yeah,
you
get
for
me on
free
the
so you're
PR
not
list. Just put
spending all
ads
your
out there.
money.
Yeah,
Yes.
you might have.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, you're all beauty junkies. So, but beside beauty product, what else are you talking about? What other discussion do you usually speak with each other?
I think a lot of times, sometimes we rely on each other for again the unbiased, safe space of what it's like to work in certain environments or experiences. Like if you are managing somebody and the different types of people you manage, navigating promotions or work life choices, and I think we kind of come to each other a lot for that type of stuff. And I love that, like, anytime we do, all three of us or the other three that respond, it's like all completely different. Like, there'll be an element that's the same, but it's like all three very different approaches. So it's kind of cool. You can be like, okay, I feel more authentic doing this part of it versus that. And then this, if I tie it in. So it's kind of cool that, like, we all have such different, unique experiences, but somehow can still have similar ways of helping that individual too.
I always think of the word support because I feel like it's nice to have people who have been with you through your career from like earlier and onward. Like these girls have known me like when I was a little bit more junior, and then like as you're moving up, like it's nice to have people that have seen you kind of grow. And then you can also ask them for like help. Like, yeah, I recently asked them because I was having some challenges as a manager, and like I just sought out their advice, like what would you do in my situation. And it's kind of nice to have that because you can't really go to your boss a lot of times or someone that's like too close to the problem. So it's nice to have a support group that's a little bit more third party, I guess. But it's also, even when I was working with these girls, like I think they were super supportive of anything I was going through.
And they know you also, so you feel comfortable going to them.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. And obviously you are a quad. So do you have different relationship between each other, right? Do you have, so one would be more, for example, the sounding board, and the other one would be more the fun one. Do you go to each other the same way?
This is just like me aging myself, but like I feel like Jess and I maybe separately chatted about other things because we're just like older. I mean, I think it depends in what context, right? Like what we're talking about. And I think when we worked at the same company, it was a little bit different because we were all different levels, weren't we?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, at one point, Jess was my manager, but we were also still friends, so that was obviously a different
I
dynamic than
think
like
so,
what I would
yeah.
have
But
with
I don't
JJ
know
or
that we like
Nazat.
treated it like that. I don't know. Maybe I didn't.
It was never, yeah, we never looked at Jess, who was like maybe the highest, as like, oh, we can't say anything around her. But I think that's the beauty of what we created, was generating different perspectives based off of like where you were at in your career, like what you were doing at a certain job. Like we don't work at the same company anymore, but it still is the fact that we've continued that relationship and support beyond. Like we'll obviously all continue to grow in our careers and learn new things. And I
Yeah.
think
But
as
like
we learn
we
and
never had
develop
issues
more on
like
our own
talking through
personally,
that.
like those are the types of things that we can share with the quad or like even individually. Because I think personally too, like Jess and I were talking about issues outside of just like work. And that's like the beauty of a work bestie, right? Like it's not just work only. Like it can be supporting on all fronts of your life
They're all just as
because
important and stressful.
yeah, if yes. I mean, and to be honest, like work isn't the most important thing. Like obviously you spend a lot of time working, and we were able to develop this beautiful relationship, but now it's like it's more of a friendship outside of work.
Maybe that's what's evolved the most, right, JJ? Like I feel like we would talk about personal stuff, but I think we talk about it even more now. Maybe at least I do
Yeah.
anyway. I talk about it much more now than I think I did back then. So maybe that's kind of evolved a little. Like we bring more
Hmm.
of the whole work-life balance element. Like
Yeah, and even like since I became a mom, like I feel like I've reached out to Jess because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I don't
no
know
mom
what
does.
I'm doing as a mother. Like, as a working parent, it's like, it's a totally different dynamic. Um, and then honestly, I feel like I lean on Kayla and Nazat to be like, is this cool? Like, I genuinely feel like I'm at that age where I'm like, I think I'm doing something that's like totally normal, but then I'm like second guessing myself. Like, is this chuggy? And then I'm like, wait, the word chuggy is like chuggy now, you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like,
I knew you were going to say
old.
that.
Welcome to my side.
I want to ask that question. Do you all have a work bestie at your current job?
I can go, yes, she's on the call with us.
You better have said yes.
I still have JJ.
Yeah,
So we're
I
still
would say
together.
like Kayla and I still talk, and actually this is, I don't know, like maybe it's just like, maybe I shouldn't say the other person.
You have another one?
No, yeah, but I mean, I think
So you have another
not
one.
as
You can
close.
save
It's
another one. Don't
it
have to say the
no.
name.
I just think I do think that there's like an importance of having like an inner circle at your
Mhm.
existing company, or like someone who's not going to judge you. Like if I did,
But gets it
yeah,
and gets
just
the
like gets
players.
it,
Yep,
understands the
exactly.
team structure, is supportive. Like that is so critical. And I feel like your mental stability in a work environment. And so like you find those pockets, but it's not the same as what we had.
I think also when you're remote, it's a little different too. Like, honestly, I feel like it's really hard to have the friendship we had if we.
Yeah, that's a good question that we were like, one of the reasons we did this podcast too is like, how do you evolve from that? Because there are so many companies, even if you're not fully remote, you're half or majority of the time remote. So do you have any, like, what do you do? Because your company is mostly remote. Is there ways you can kind of, you haven't
I feel
figured
like
it
you
out
really have
yet?
to force yourself like out of your comfort zone and really like reach out to those people that you connect with, even though it is obviously hard to connect virtually. But there's little things like you'll hear someone say something on a call, and you could always like ping them and ask to get virtual coffee or whatever it may be. Um, but you have to like put in the effort, which in a virtual world is hard to do.
One of the suggestions we had heard, which I kind of think is cool, but also it's a little reminds me a little bit of like speed dating, but they like recommended that some organizations just like randomly kind of set you up and you have like lunch, whether or not you're physically live or virtual, and like they would send you a coupon, like you could go get your lunch and like you have someone to chat with that maybe it's not in your industry or maybe not in your department or whatever, just to kind of have someone else to chat with.
Yeah, and that's what like currently I was matched with like a mentor at my company, and someone was like, "You guys would be a great fit," and like we are. And now we talk like every quarter, which is like an amazing relationship. I mean, obviously not a work BFF, but someone to talk to, and vent to and ask
And
advice
actually,
from.
that's very interesting because so you were put in with a mentor, but who decided about that mentor?
So it was someone who honestly like high up knew me like at a high level, and then obviously knew this person and was like, you guys would get along great. And I think it was probably somewhat luck that we really did get along, but I'm really thankful for them setting us up. But it was, that was like extra effort because we weren't just like sitting next to each other in the office. Like Nazat and I used to sit next to each other and we would just start talking. um, and that's how we became really close friends. But obviously in the virtual world,
But
that's
that's
hard to
so
do.
interesting that actually your organization is pushing for that, right? And I think that is something that other organizations should learn from it because, again, it's so
Yeah,
important.
definitely.
The only thing I'd add to that, I think that's awesome they did that, but I think they need to do it with like peer groups
Yeah.
too. Because we were talking about how in the new world, right, a lot of people started work in this kind of hybrid or fully remote environment. So they don't know what you guys just had, right? Where Kaylin is
Yeah.
at like we were next to each other, could just like move over and chat with us. Or Jackie, I think you and I were back to back. So we would just hit each other and chat. A lot of people don't have that. So like in addition to having like a mentor, I do think companies should recommend um like almost it sounds like a horrible way to do it, but just kind of like randomly putting people together to try and foster a like meet and greet across different teams just to help with some of those things. Because when you're not in a work environment, you don't have the water cooler to go and chat or run into people, and you need to kind of figure out ways to do that. And that's where I think the younger generation is really missing out on, because if you don't have those random conversations or one-offs, even if they don't know all the same players as you, but they know the company and they know the dynamics, it's so good to have that other kind of venting ability, or like JJ, you were saying before, like somebody who just kind of gets it, that you can have those conversations with. And sometimes a peer is better than even a
Mentor, yeah.
because
Yeah.
It's that
you'd
safe
feel more
space.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, though, I think it's putting yourself out there. Like, someone recently in our company like reached out to me because their manager was like, oh, I think you would connect really well with Kayla. And this person really liked beauty products. So they were like, amazing, you guys can talk about beauty and you guys are the same level and you're going through a lot of the same stuff. So we were connected, but it took extra effort on her part to go and ask her manager if he had recommendations for someone to connect to.
Beauty brings
Beauty
people
time.
together.
Or like Nazat.
I kind of did this. That's how I ended up in beauty. Like when I worked at Macy's, I worked in merchandising for like almost 4 years. And I really wanted to work on the beauty team. I didn't know anyone. I didn't even know where like the team sat. And the girl who sat next to me, we became really good friends. To this day, I would say she's one of my top 5 best friends. And she used to do a ton of networking events.
See, that 5, we're ahead of her. Just kidding. Kidding.
But yeah, she used to go to a ton of networking events, and she met
Really?
someone on the beauty team, and she was like, "Oh, you want to talk to them?" And then I like met that person, like met them at a Starbucks, and I was like, "How do I get on this team? Like, what do I have to do?" And then they introduced me to a bunch of other people. So like, yeah, I feel like networking, it's still like super important, but it's definitely harder when it's remote. Because yeah, I definitely agree with you, because I even see on the people I hire on my team, I feel so bad. Like they're college grads, no one sits next to them. Like when we do go in the office, it's so quiet because like my company is a hybrid, but like people still like don't really show up, and she's just alone. Like, and I can't really talk to her the same way that I would talk to someone who's my level. Like she needs another person who's her level that she can like complain about me to or something.
Maybe you should find someone for her. Just ask other
Yeah.
managers.
The
I think
thing
that's
is,
a
like,
good start, right? Because if your company's
yeah,
not doing it
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
People that are remote are pushing back against going back to the office, right? A lot of them, because you you you're comfortable at home, but you're missing that element if you've always been in.
Yeah, and sorry, I feel like I have a different perspective because I have been remote for a while. And I think I don't know why. I mean, when we were all at the company, like I was very adverse to ever wanting to go into the office. But I think now, now that I have a kid, I literally like there's like a child running around, and I'm like, I need an escape and just like to be fully surrounded by adults and perspective, because I feel like when you meet an in-person connection, like you're able to develop, I don't know, like an in-person relationship versus just it's like online
Yeah.
dating. Like you don't really know someone that well until you are like in it live and you're actually in person.
Well, I mean, I agree. I think it's easier live for sure.
Yeah.
But when I was at the company you guys were at, I connected with all those people over in Europe. Remember, I'm
Oh,
still friends with them.
yeah.
Like we still have WhatsApp chats and chit chat all the time. Like I never physically saw. I think I saw one of them, but I never like the one that I'm the closest with. I never physically saw live,
Yeah.
and she and I chat all the time. So I think you can.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like,
I am all about remote working, don't get me wrong. But I think honestly it maybe is just like the child aspect. I'm like, I need to get out of here. Like I
It's
kind of
easier when you're in person because you don't have to put in the extra effort. Like that person's there in front of you and you're going to say hi. Like you're going to have a
And
conversation.
I mean, personally, I have to say that. So we are hybrid also, but a lot of time I'm going to the office to also continue that relationship with Jess, right? Because even though we are in nonstop meetings, you have those 30 seconds where, sitting next to each other, you can just laugh and vent. So a lot of time I had no issue going to the office for that reason.
It just depends on what you're able to do, because some people are in a different area than their main headquarter company and all that stuff too. So I think there's ways to do it in both sides. The point is, though, find a way regardless,
Yeah.
because it is so important. It's my little soapbox.
Well,
Find a
I
way.
think that we covered everything.
All right, guys. The very last thing is, do we have any parting words or advice for future generations around work-life besties, or how we would encourage them become involved in beauty? It's a bond for everyone.
I would say if you're trying to like get to know someone, not even just, I mean, not every relationship's gonna result in like a best friend type of situation, but I think I've gone, like when I was young in my career, I felt like I went through a lot of things that I wish I had someone to talk about or talk to about what I was going through. And so if I ever see someone who I feel like just needs support or needs like some type of pick me up, I always extend an olive branch, and I don't want to like force myself down their throat, but I just feel like people want to feel supported. People want to develop those relationships. So just like not being afraid to extend an olive branch, both like at more senior levels and also like peer levels below you, whatever it is. But I feel like the workplace can get stronger with people having those bonded relationships more.
Essence, like everybody has a role in it.
Yeah.
Like everybody should be thinking about reaching out to those others, and especially when you see a situation or know of situations, reach.
If you see something, say something.
Those Subway advertisements come
They
back
would be so
tenfold.
proud.
They would be so proud. Any other
I think you
advice?
should really just like push yourself. Like if you're working remote, like really push yourself to reach out to people, like JJ said, and make the effort, because it's definitely worth it to have friends in the workplace that you can talk to and vent to and really lean on in tough situations.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's sometimes you feel like kind of scared, or like if you're an introvert, it can seem very scary to reach out to people. But I feel like in the workplace, at the end of the day, like everyone's got their own thing going on, and no one is there to like get you. Everyone is out there to kind of help each other. So the worst thing they can say is like they're busy, but it doesn't hurt to reach out. And the only person
to it clearly from our earlier examples, I was the last one into this crew. So always reach out and bring that other person in, because I do think that helps. I know Claude and I have some examples of that recently, where like even if you have work besties that you text or whatever, and you find that other person that's kind of similar and that'll bond with the rest of them, reach out. That olive branch you talked about, reach out and bring them in with the full crew, not just you, because I think that sometimes they know they trusted you, so therefore they're going to trust those others, and it just kind of helps kind of grow all of you. So yeah. All right, guys, we did it. We made it to the end. So thank you so much. We are so honored to have you. I personally am very honored to have all of you on. Not just because I love you all so much, but also because I miss talking about beauty all day long.
Thank you for having us.
And
Now I need to go buy.
We had to stop abruptly because, geez, you guys can talk. Oh my goodness.
I think they're actually still on the other line going. Weeks later.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure. At least I'm happy that they get to meet a bit all together again, like back in the days during pandemic, right?
Yes, now you know exactly what it was like to be on one of our Zoom or calls, our happy hour calls, where it was just nonstop, all of us
Yeah.
talking, and it was
How
supposed to
long
be an
was
hour,
it?
but went like all night long.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Was it like all night?
Pretty much.
I loved it.
But yeah, good point. Maybe we'll put some other snippets of me and the Beauty Junkies in some other upcoming episodes. But I think you got a
Yeah.
flair for who we are, what we like to
I love
do,
it.
and the fact that we love to talk beauty and treat ourselves and fashion.
Yeah. Yes, I already have a good list about my beauty ritual, but no, my wallet. Anyway, I think it's a good deal that we should do for next episode to continue, because really it's not good to stop like that, because I really love listening to them, learning from them. So let's do that.
You mean us? I was a part of it too, Claude. Thanks.
Well, you were on both sides, right? You were part of the
I
Beauty
switched.
Junkies. Oh,
You're the main host today.
oh boy, that moves
Uh,
around.
all right. Well, with that, we hope all of you who listened were able to figure out how many places Claude went to. It was quite a high number. And that you pay attention in the upcoming episodes, because we'll be throwing this episode, or at least the upcoming ones, around some other fun things that us beauty junkies talked about that we did not get a chance to incorporate into this episode. To all the work besties out there, keep supporting
each
each
other.
other. Better.
It's like an echo.
Y'all get it.
Bye.